What's up, guys? What's up? What's up? My crazy hair. Hi. Again, the backdrop. I just can't, you guys. And then I move this and you can see my plant in my little lighthouse that my uncle made for me before he passed away. My feelings. Oh my God, I could sit here and tell you for hours about all the things that are on my shelf. The girls in my group, in my coaching group, were like, you really should do that because there's a reason, a rhyme and a reason behind all of the things. If you're popping on live, say hey, tell me, say hello. Like this, what's it called? That seashell was in my grandma's garden my entire life. Like, it's still kind of stained. I haven't put any time to try to fix it, but I probably should get a soft brush and try to get some of this dirt off of it. But they got this in Florida, and I remember as a little girl I used to grab it and listen to it because you can hear the ocean. But it sat in her rose garden, and so when she passed away and we sold their house, it was something that I took with me. It was sitting there, no one else took it, so I took it with me. I have a lot of random trinkets that mean things like that to me around. I feel like it's important. Here's another fun one. This also was, my grandpa used to have these everywhere. He worked for Southwestern Bell, and so a lot of people don't know, but these and glass ones, which the glass ones are cooler looking, and I think a lot of the brothers, my uncles, took the glass ones, but this was also sitting in the garden. But these were all over the, everywhere. He had them everywhere, but these are things that go up on the telephone poles, and they're kind of cool looking. So he would have them as paperweights and stuff. But anyway, that's another thing that randomly lives in my office on my new beautiful shelves that I was waiting for. Anyway, so what I wanted to talk to you about today, let me get this bad boy reloaded so I can make sure I'm not missing anything. But what I want to talk to you guys about today is what if you could almost guarantee that what you were planting was going to bloom? What you were spending time on, putting attention into, creating, growing, whatever it is. What if you could guarantee that it was going to bloom? What if you knew that what you were doing, what you were exerting, the energy you were exerting to put into whatever that thing is, what if you knew that it was going to work? Could you imagine? That would be pretty cool, right? I feel what happens a lot of times when we feel stuck or we feel almost why am I even doing this anymore, right? Or sometimes disappointed or feeling down about how we've been working so hard or we've been doing so much and then that thing hasn't happened or we haven't changed that or we haven't seen this change or whatever. What ends up happening in a lot of cases is there's a few factors involved in that. One is that we're kind of just, in some spaces, just sporadically taking action, not as specific or as, I guess you could say, premeditated as we could be, not as proactive as we could be. If you guys haven't noticed, I have to do things with my hands when we're talking. So not as proactive as you potentially could be, right? And just really streamlined. I've said this since before I owned my own company. I'd always say, eye on the prize, tunnel vision, tunnel vision. So when I would set up a goal or set up a project in the business, or we were trying to, roll something out at the shop, it would always be eye on the prize, tunnel vision. This is what we're trying to accomplish. And my boss and I would just stay true to the course. Him and I were so good at that. And so that's something that I always say, and it's come into the way that I teach people, right? And it comes into the way that I live 100%, and how I help other people create systems and structures and timelines and things for themselves. And so the goal is to always have the eye on the prize, and then learning how you can function day to day to where all of your movements and all of your action, all the energy that you're putting out is taking you towards that path. And we set up not roadblocks, but road check-ins almost along the way, kind of like you would have in a race. If you're running a race, there's check-ins, or you were driving in a race. We set those up along the way to make sure that we're not veering too far off course. It helps keep us true to where we are, to check in to say, wait a minute, does this make sense? What's working? What's not? What do I need to do? All of those things so I stay on course. So that's something that is a huge piece of the puzzle when it comes to actually having something to show for what all of the effort you've put in at the end. The other part of it is it's not even so much as having anything to show for it for all of the time. It's like, what if it was actually having the thing that you wanted to show for it, right? Like, what if you were able to create the thing that you wanted and knew that was what was at the end of the path, or the end of the season, or whatever it was. So when I talk about seeds, it's just an easy like metaphor for people to recognize. But if we're throwing just a bunch of random shit in a pot and hoping that something grows, which is what we're doing when we have no plan, or no guideline, no focus, nothing really fully rooted into what it is that we truly are desiring to create, we're just throwing shit around, then of course you may or may not get anything out of it. You may or may not get anything that actually remotely resembles things that you actually want. So the goal is to always be able to get that clear, so then we can go about our daily life and we can do the things that we're doing, things we want, more of whatever, to where it feeds into toward the desired destination, right? So I created a workshop for this. It is going to be fairly seamless. And what I mean by that is, I don't want anything that's going to be so overwhelming that you have to block out, you know, so much time and energy in your life for me to change everything about you. I don't believe in that. I don't believe that that's the answer, especially not for something like this. I definitely want it to be something where you're able to go through. So I set it up in 3 parts. There's a section. Here are the parts for you to go through in that section. Here are the parts for you to go through in this next section. Those kinds of pieces, right? So I'll actually pull it up and tell you a little bit more about it, but because there's a lot of content and it's a really ridiculously low price point if we're being honest, but it's a good price point. Meaning, I don't mean like it's low, like, oh, this should be cheap to you. That's not what I mean. When I say that, it's a lot of value for the price that I'm selling it at, is what I mean when I say it's a low price point. I don't mean like, oh, you should just have all of this money. That's not it. It's more like, I'm going to give you an abundance of shit, a really, really big piece. And if you've never worked with me before, here's something that I think is important. Whether it's with me or with anybody else, I think it's important that you recognize that, where is this? Digital products, there we go. It is, don't take shit that leaves you going, now what, right? If you go to a program or go to a live event, or you go to a whatever, like, pay attention to what the outcome is supposed to be. What's the result that they're telling you they're going to give you, right? Because what happens is, I don't like when people go into things thinking they're going to come out with a plan or come out with something, and they just go in with motivation and they're like, oh, but now what? What am I supposed to do with all this shit you just shoved in my face? And then they just kind of leave you to figure it out on your own. Like, I am not about that life. Like, I do not want that. I want to help you recognize things, create plans, and then walk away with something that's already implemented, something that's already engraved in what it is that you're wanting to do, and something that's easy for you to maintain and keep at. Like, we kind of set you up for success in the way of even checking in with yourself, right? So it's pretty fucking cool. It's going to be amazing. There is a live aspect to it where we will review the trainings that you go through. I'm very itchy all of a sudden. Well, you will review the content that you have to go through, because here's the deal. There's a method to the madness always, because some of that stuff you need to go through on your own without me, unless we were going to be one-on-one coaching, which is not what the point of this was. And even then, it's hard. My private clients, we go through this, but they have to go do that work when we're off the phone, because you have to be able to sit with it and really just let flow whatever. Unless I have all day with you, which I've done with my private clients earlier this year. We had an entire day, like 6 hours, where I was able to kind of like get their mind in the right place and really crank out some of this stuff. But it takes a very specific path, right? So what I've done in this is created that path for you to do. So you'll do the section, very much guided, simple, easy how-tos on what you need to do with what. And then we'll meet and we'll talk about it. And I'll teach you live, and I'll answer your questions live, and we'll be able to engage and work together. And then you have part 2, same concept. We'll come together and do the same thing afterwards. You also get Voxer, which is a voice messaging app. You get Voxer access to me during part 2 and part 3, because sometimes people have a lot of things they want to flush out as they're like recognizing what they're wanting. So it gives you the opportunity to actually speak to me directly in that fashion. So part 2, same thing, right? And then part 3, same thing. And after part 3, you walk away with a ton of bonus material that I'll give you to kind of keep you on track, but also a plan, a solid plan with the check-ins, with the things in your calendar, with the what you need to be focusing on, what you need to be doing every day, every week, every month, whatever, right? As complicated as you may think that sounds, It's not. It's all very simple. It's all designed to be simple for you. If you were to come and learn anything from me ever and just trust the process with me, go through the stages and trust the process with me, it always brings you out the other side and you're just like, whoa, okay, it's not as complicated as we may think. So what is this? It's going to be about 12 weeks long. I would say about, because I tend to keep containers open around about a certain time frame, sometimes longer, simply because I want to make sure people have support, right? So 12 weeks with me, inside of that container, the content will be trickled, like I said, for you to do it the way that I just described. There's 3 parts. The Power of Reflection has 4 sections and 9 lessons and 1 live session. The part 2, Desire and Roots, includes 5 sections, 11 lessons, and Voxer access with me during that. So voice messaging and a live call. And part 3 is Mapping the Path, and that includes 6 sections, 14 lessons. And the only reason there's 14 lessons in that is because they're very short, and it's different methodologies that you get to choose from on what makes more sense for you as far as what kinds of ways of mapping. So it's not like, oh my God, that's so much. It's really not, but it's enough, right? There's a reason. So 14 lessons, Voxer support, one-on-one training together. Oh, I forgot to tell you, there will be a bonus live workshop at the end. So what that will be is I'll set it up based upon how many people are in the training or in the workshop. We'll have that one workshop day where you'll have a time to come in. Like, you'll know when. I'll be sitting on Zoom. We'll be on Zoom together. You'll get to unmute yourself, show me your plan, tell me what it is that you're looking for, like what it is that you're needing, what you want to talk about. And sometimes just sharing that with somebody like me is invaluable in itself. So we'll have a customized day for that, for specific support for each of you. And then there's bonus material, which is like my #1 planning guides, my monthly trainings, all of my power hour stuff, intentional living. Like, those are like my tried and true things. And so those things will exist in there for you, just as bonuses to watch afterwards. But I wanted to tell you about this because tis the season, and the cart will not be open forever. So I want people to be able to take advantage of that. I will put, the link is actually, I didn't go all fancy with any of this. There is a link for you to buy. You just need to send me a message or comment below and I'll shoot you it over. It's $217 if you paid in full, or you can do 3 payments that are 3 months apart, basically. 30 days apart, and the 3 payments are $84 a piece. So I did make it to where you could do something that was reasonable, that would make sense, that you could work out. So there's that. If you're looking for something to kind of help you regroup, maybe it's that we want to revamp those New Year's goals, those New Year's resolutions. Maybe it's you want to start fresh, whatever it might be. This is something that also you'll have access to for life. And so you'll be able to use this every single year if you wanted, every single quarter, every single, half of the year, whatever, when you're wanting to start something new or you feel like you need a refresh, you'll have this to go through that will walk you through the process and will help you always. You'll always have it, and it's always valuable. So that is that. I would love to have you there. Anybody who's at all interested or knows someone who might be, I would greatly appreciate you sharing this with someone. Also, obviously, giving a thumbs up is always very much appreciated. And if you are in, message here on the thing that you're in. If you have questions, pop them here as well. And then you can either, like I say, tell you you're in here, or shoot me a private message and I will send you over everything in writing. So it kind of explains who's this for, what you get. Again, kind of what I already said, but more in, bullet points. And then you get the 2 payment links. So that's there if you need it, or you want it, or you're interested in working with me. This would be a beautiful way for whatever it is you're looking to create. This is not just for business owners. This is for everyone. This is for humans. This is for people who are just wanting to revamp, dig in good, get rooted in what it is that they want, and start to live their life in an alignment factor that gets them there. Okay? Thanks.